Ethan Cole had always been an ordinary man living an ordinary life, or so he believed. He worked at a small robotics company on the edge of the city. His job wasn't glamorous, but he was good at it. He designed energy circuits for experimental machines that most people didn't understand. His coworkers often joked that Ethan lived more with his gadgets than with people. It was a quiet Friday night when the story began. Ethan returned home late, his mind tired but buzzing from ideas. His apartment was small but filled with devices, wires, tiny robots, and half-finished inventions scattered on tables and shelves. He turned on the lights, sighed, and went straight to the bathroom for a shower. Warm water poured over his shoulders, washing away the stress of the day. Steam filled the room. Ethan closed his eyes, thinking about the energy module he had tested earlier that day. A small prototype designed to send stable waves through matter. It had worked for only 2 seconds before burning out. He planned to rebuild it tomorrow. He didn't know that experiment had already changed everything. The bathroom light flickered once. Then again, Ethan frowned. He looked up at the bulb, thinking it was a power surge. But the air around him began to feel strange, heavy, almost humming. The steam moved in circles, spinning faster and faster. "What the?" he muttered, wiping water from his eyes. Then it happened. A sharp flash of blue light filled the room. The steam twisted into a whirlpool of glowing mist, and in the center something, or someone, appeared. The shape of a person slowly formed inside the light. Ethan stumbled backward in shock. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. A young woman was standing in his shower. Or rather, she appeared right through the water like she was stepping out of another dimension. Her body shimmered faintly, as if made of silver glass reflecting moonlight. Her hair floated like strands of light, and her eyes were deep violet, glowing softly even in the dim bathroom. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Ethan blinked, his heart pounding. "Who are you? How did you?" The woman tilted her head, studying him with calm curiosity. Her voice was soft, but echoed oddly, as if several tones spoke at once. "This is not my dimension," she said. "The coordinates are incorrect. Identify yourself." Ethan froze. He quickly grabbed a towel and wrapped it around himself. You can talk? You're real?" She blinked, confused. "Of course. You are a physical being. I can see your energy field." He stared at her, still trying to understand if he was dreaming. You teleported into my shower. People don't just do that." She looked around the bathroom, touching the wall and the mirror. The moment her fingers met the surface, tiny sparks of light appeared, as if the materials reacted to her touch. "This structure is primitive," she said. "But stable, interesting." "Primitive," Ethan repeated. "Hey, this is my apartment." The woman finally turned her attention back to him. Her expression softened. "Apologies. My name is Lyra. I am from Virelia. Your signal pulled me here." "My signal?" Ethan asked, frowning. "What signal?" She pointed to a small metal patch glowing faintly on her arm. "Quantum locator lock. It reacts to dimensional beacons." "You opened one?" Ethan blinked in disbelief. "No, I didn't. I was just working on an energy emitter." "Wait." He suddenly remembered the prototype from earlier. "You mean that small circuit I built? That thing could barely light a bulb." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes scanning him. "Even weak signals can cross the veil if frequencies align. Your device reached through the fold." Ethan didn't understand half of what she said, but one thing was clear. She wasn't from Earth. Every movement, every flicker of light around her body told him she was something extraordinary. For a second, they simply stared at each other, the sound of running water echoing softly in the background. Then Ethan remembered the shower was still on. He turned the tap off quickly, his heart still racing. Okay. This is insane. You appeared in my bathroom, you're glowing, and you talk like a scientist from the future. What exactly do you want from me?" Lyra looked at him curiously. "Nothing. I must understand where I am. Then I can decide." She took one step forward, and Ethan instinctively stepped back, bumping into the wall. Despite her calm voice, there was something powerful about her presence. Not dangerous, just overwhelming. "Look," Ethan said, trying to sound steady. "I don't know what kind of experiment you came from, but this isn't safe. People don't just teleport here. There are rules, physics, borders." Lyra tilted her head again as if amused. "Your rules are your own. My kind no longer obeys the same limits. We travel through resonance fields. Ethan rubbed his forehead. Yeah, sure. And I'm talking to a walking light bulb from another universe. Her eyes flickered slightly and she smiled. A small, curious smile that seemed almost human. You're afraid? I'm not afraid, he said quickly. Just very confused. Lyra's expression softened. Your energy field vibrates faster. That is fear. Ethan couldn't argue. His hands were shaking slightly. But behind the fear there was fascination. He had always dreamed about other worlds, other forms of life. And now one stood in front of him, in his shower of all places. Lyra looked at the mirror and touched her own reflection. For a brief moment her image shimmered like static on a screen. Strange, she whispered. This world has dense matter. I can feel every atom pressing against me. It is heavy. Ethan handed her a towel without thinking. Here, you should cover yourself before you walk around glowing like that. She accepted the towel and wrapped it clumsily around her shoulders. The gesture looked awkward, like someone copying human behavior after only observing it for a few minutes. Ethan sighed, still unsure what to do. Okay, Lyra, let's just start simple. You're from another dimension. Somehow my experiment opened a doorway and pulled you through. Now you're stuck here and I have no idea how to send you back. Correct? Lyra nodded slightly. Correct. The bridge collapsed when I crossed. The frequency anchor is gone. Ethan frowned. So you're saying the door closed behind you? Yes, and I cannot reopen it without the original beacon and the one you built. Ethan's heart sank. His prototype had burned out. He threw it in the trash before leaving the lab. There was no way to repair it quickly. Lyra looked around the bathroom again, then back at him. You seem unsettled. Should I leave this chamber? Ethan laughed nervously. Well, yeah, it's a bathroom. People usually don't hang out in here for long unless they're bathing or teleporting in, apparently. Lyra blinked at his sarcasm, not understanding, but followed him out of the room. Her steps made no sound on the floor. In the brighter light of the living room, she looked even more surreal. The glow from her skin reflected softly on the walls. Ethan caught his reflection in the window, a normal man standing next to something impossible. Lyra examined the small devices scattered around his desk. You are a creator, she said, touching one of his unfinished drones. Ethan shrugged. I guess. I build things. Machines mostly, she smiled faintly. That explains the signal. Your mind is tuned to construct and connect. You reached farther than you meant to. Ethan sat down, still overwhelmed. So now what? You can't stay here forever. Lyra looked out the window at the night sky. Your world is loud, she said softly. So many lights, so much movement. Yet your heart feels quiet. It is peaceful. Her tone surprised him. It wasn't robotic or alien anymore. It was almost gentle. Well, Ethan said awkwardly. Peaceful is one way to put it. Boring is another. Lyra turned toward him, her violet eyes glowing slightly brighter. Boring is good. In my world, there is no quiet, no privacy. Every thought is recorded. Here I feel free. The words stayed in Ethan's mind long after she said them. He looked at her, still amazed that something so strange could sound so human. Outside, the city lights flickered. Inside, two beings, one human, one alien, stood in the small room, bound by an accident neither could explain. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't feel alone. And though neither of them knew it yet, that night, the night she appeared in his shower, would change both their worlds forever. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft hum of the city outside his window. Sunlight spilled into his small apartment, catching on Lyra's faint silver glow. She was sitting cross-legged on his couch, observing the patterns of sunlight as if they were intricate data streams. Ethan rubbed his eyes and blinked. Good morning, he said cautiously. Did you sleep? Lyra turned her head, her violet eyes studying him. I do not require sleep in the same way as humans. My energy rests, but my form remains active. Ethan nodded slowly. Right, I forgot. You're basically an alien. She tilted her head, a small smile appearing on her lips. You are amusing. You seem startled yet composed. Strange balance. He shrugged. It is not every day someone teleports into your bathroom. Lyra's smile widened faintly. True, yet it is interesting. You did not scream nor run. You merely observe. Ethan felt a little proud. If surviving a teleporting alien in your shower could be called pride, well, I guess curiosity beats panic sometimes. The problem now was practical. Lyra couldn't stay in a bathroom forever, and Ethan had to figure out what to do next. He decided to feed her, not knowing if she even needed human food. He opened the fridge and offered her a bowl of cereal. Lyra examined it carefully, her long fingers hovering over the milk. "You eat this for energy?" "Yes," Ethan said, "but it tastes better than it sounds." Lyra touched the bowl lightly. The milk rippled as if the molecules were analyzing her presence. "I do not require physical sustenance, but I can consume energy differently. This will not harm your world." Ethan watched in fascination. "So, you drink light or electricity or something?" She nodded. "Light, warmth, motion, energy surrounds you. I absorb a portion." She turned her hand slightly, and the lamp above flickered briefly as if acknowledging her touch. For hours, Ethan tried to explain human life to her. She watched his movements, listened to him talk about work, friends, and his small routines. Every gesture and word fascinated her. "You speak in patterns," Lyra said quietly. "Your sentences have energy imprints. You do not know it, yet I can read much of your intent." Ethan laughed nervously. "So you're a mind reader now?" "Not fully. Only energy resonance. I understand purpose, not emotion, completely." As the day passed, Ethan realized Lyra had no interest in leaving. Not yet. She seemed content to study his world, asking questions about everything. How the refrigerator worked, why humans laughed, why the water felt cold or hot, why sunlight changed. Ethan had never felt anyone observe him like that before. Not his coworkers, not friends. Nobody noticed the small details the way Lyra did. It was like she was seeing everything and nothing at the same time. By evening, Ethan finally asked the question he had been avoiding. "Lyra, you didn't come here by accident. You said something found you. Are you being chased?" Lyra's eyes darkened slightly, her glow dimming. "Not chased exactly, observed. In my world, leaving without permission is not allowed. The council will seek me if I return improperly. But here, I am safe. For now." Ethan frowned. "So, if you go back, people will punish you?" She nodded. "Yes. My world does not tolerate freedom outside rules. But here, you allow me choice. That is rare." He leaned back on the couch, trying to absorb this. She was essentially a refugee from another dimension, and he was now responsible for keeping her safe. Lyra walked slowly to the window, looking out over the city. "Your world is different, not perfect, yet it is alive. I sense your calmness. I feel welcome." Ethan sat quietly. "I'm glad you feel that way. But staying here, it's risky. I don't even know if your body can survive fully in our dimension long term." She turned to him, violet eyes locking on his. "I am willing to risk it. I feel peace here. Something I have not felt for centuries." Ethan's heart raced. "Centuries?" Lyra gave a small smile. "Time passes differently for me. What is a few days for you may be weeks for me. But I do not complain. I enjoy this." Ethan swallowed. He had no idea what to say. He had expected a frightened alien, or a visitor panicked and desperate to return home. Lyra was neither. She was calm, curious, and oddly human. Over the next few days, he tried to teach her about his world. He showed her television, music, and even old video games. Lyra observed, fascinated. "This is amusing," she said, as she moved a small controller in her hand. "You call it competition? I do not see danger, yet you are emotionally engaged." "Interesting," Ethan laughed. "Yes, humans are complicated. We feel excitement, fear, joy, even when it is just a game." Lyra tilted her head. "Your emotions are dense. I can feel them from here." She extended her hand, and a faint pulse of violet light ran across Ethan's arm. He shivered but didn't move. You're reading me again? He asked. I am observing. Not intruding, she said softly. You are stable. Most humans are chaotic. You are compatible. Ethan had no idea how to reply. Compatible with what? He was just trying to figure out how to get breakfast without causing a dimensional incident, but Lyra's calm presence was comforting. She wasn't loud or demanding. She didn't force him to do anything, yet every glance from her violet eyes carried curiosity, as if she were learning not just about him, but about life itself. One evening, Ethan heard a strange hum coming from his apartment. His small energy devices flickered as if responding to something invisible. Lyra stiffened. They are here, she said softly. Ethan froze. Who? What? Observers from my world, she explained. They have located my signal. They wish to retrieve me. Panic struck Ethan. Observers? You mean like soldiers or agents? Lyra shook her head. Not soldiers, enforcers. They maintain order. If I am found, I will be forced to return immediately against my will. Ethan's mind raced. Okay, then we need a plan. You can't just vanish in the middle of the night or They cannot cross fully, Lyra interrupted. Your dimension's energy shields block full transit, but they can observe, and they can send others to test the boundaries. We must be cautious. Ethan nodded, heart pounding. All right, let's start by making sure this place is safe. Over the next hours, they moved electronics, checked circuits, and prepared small protective devices. Ethan realized he was no longer just a human engineer. He was a guardian, protecting an alien visitor who had chosen to stay in his world. Lyra watched him, her glowing eyes softening. You are brave, she said quietly. I did not expect a human to act so quickly, so decisively. Ethan chuckled nervously. Well, I guess we're in this together now, right? Lyra nodded. Yes, together. That night, as Ethan lay in bed, he thought about how drastically his life had changed. The apartment that once felt small and lonely now held an impossible guest, a being from another world who had stepped into his shower and stayed. And yet, for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. Lyra's presence was strange, unworldly, yet comforting. And as he drifted to sleep, he realized that his ordinary life had ended the moment the air shimmered in his bathroom. Something new had begun. Something extraordinary. And though Ethan did not yet know it, their days together would grow even more dangerous, even more astonishing, and even more filled with discovery. The universe had opened its doors to him, and he had stepped through, not into another world, but into a life beyond imagination. It was another quiet night in Ethan's apartment. The city lights flickered outside and the hum of distant traffic filled the air. He was tinkering with a small energy coil on his desk, trying to understand how his prototype had pulled Lyra from her world. She sat on the couch, silently observing, her silver-glowing skin casting soft reflections across the room. Suddenly, the devices on his desk began to flicker. The lights above stuttered, and the small fan spun faster, then stopped abruptly. Ethan froze, his hand hovering over the coil. A strange buzzing filled the air, not from his equipment, but from somewhere beyond the apartment, as if the walls themselves were humming with energy. Lyra's violet eyes widened. She rose to her feet, her glow intensifying slightly. They have found the frequency, she whispered. Ethan's heart raced. Found what? Who found us? Observers from my world. They monitor unauthorized crossings. They will test the limits of your dimension soon, she said, her voice calm but urgent. We do not have much time. Before Ethan could react, a bright sphere of light formed in the center of his living room. It spun rapidly, sending small sparks into the air. Then slowly a figure emerged from the light. Tall and imposing, it wore a suit of reflective metal that seemed to flow like liquid silver. Its face was hidden behind a helmet, but the eyes, glowing faintly, were unmistakably alert. Return the Varelian subject immediately. The figure's voice echoed, metallic and emotionless. This human dimension is off limits. Lyra stepped in front of Ethan instinctively, her body glowing brighter. "No, I will not go back. I have chosen to remain," she said, her voice firm. The figure paused, analyzing her. "Obedience is required. Resistance is forbidden." "You will comply," Ethan's mind raced. He had never seen anything like this here, a being from another world enforcing rules he didn't understand. And now it stood in his apartment, threatening the only friend he had ever truly met. "Lyra," he shouted. "We have to do something." Lyra's violet glow flared. She reached out and a wave of light pulsed across the room. The metallic figure staggered slightly but remained upright. "You cannot defeat me here," it said. "Surrender." Ethan looked around desperately. His hands landed on his small energy coil, the same device that had brought Lyra to his world. He knew it was risky, but he had no choice. He threw the coil into the sphere of light. The coil activated, sending a burst of raw energy into the teleportation field. Sparks flew. The lights flickered violently, and a shockwave pushed both Ethan and Lyra back. The metallic figure reeled, its control over the field weakening. "Now, Lyra," Ethan shouted. She extended her hands, merging her own energy with the pulse from the coil. The room filled with blinding light. The figure let out a metallic shriek as it was pulled back into the sphere, which collapsed with a loud pop, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air. Ethan coughed, wiping sweat from his forehead. Lyra stumbled but didn't fall. She looked at him, her violet eyes wide. "You risked yourself for me," she said softly. "Why?" Ethan shrugged, still catching his breath. "You appeared in my shower, looked me over, and stayed. I guess I couldn't let anyone take you away." Lyra's expression softened. "You are extraordinary, Ethan. Most humans would have panicked, or obeyed." He laughed nervously. "I panicked a little, but I guess I also acted." The adrenaline slowly faded, leaving a tense silence. Ethan realized the danger hadn't fully passed. That metallic figure might be gone for now, but the energy it had detected could draw others. Lyra's presence in his world was no longer secret. "We need to stabilize your form," Ethan said, his voice firm. "If you remain here without balance, your energy will dissipate. You could fade completely." Lyra's eyes flickered. "I did not expect my choice to carry such risk. Yet I do not regret it. I will remain with you if it means freedom." Ethan nodded. "Then we need a plan. I'll build a stabilizer, something to anchor you to this world permanently. But it won't be easy. It may take days." Over the next hours, Ethan scavenged parts from his lab and improvised new circuits. Lyra assisted as best she could, observing, analyzing, and occasionally offering insight. Her knowledge of quantum fields was far beyond his, yet she was patient, guiding him without taking control. "You understand energy flow intuitively," she noted, watching him adjust a delicate coil. "Your mind aligns with the field naturally." Ethan smiled faintly. "Well, that's lucky. Or maybe it's the universe telling me I should be doing this." Lyra tilted her head. "Perhaps. Or perhaps the universe enjoys surprises." Night fell outside the window and the city lights cast a soft glow across the apartment. Ethan worked tirelessly, soldering, wiring, and calibrating. Lyra floated nearby, her hands occasionally brushing the circuits, her glow illuminating the tiny sparks. Hours later, the stabilizer was ready. It was a delicate machine, humming softly, its core pulsing with faint blue light. Ethan looked at it and then at Lyra. "Are you ready?" She nodded, her violet eyes steady. "I am ready." Ethan activated the device. A soft hum filled the room, growing louder as beams of light connected with Lyra's body. Her glow intensified, radiating warmth and energy. The stabilizer's circuits adjusted in real time, responding to her unique energy signature. For a moment, it seemed as if the room itself held its breath. Then a sudden pulse of light shot through the stabilizer. Lyra staggered slightly and Ethan reached out to catch her. "Are you okay?" he asked. She looked at him, a faint smile on her lips. "I feel anchored, stronger, safer. Your world does not drain me. I can remain here." Ethan exhaled, relief flooding him. "Good. That's exactly what I hoped." For the next few hours, they monitored the stabilizer, ensuring Lyra's energy remained stable. The apartment felt different now, less like a small, ordinary place and more like the center of something extraordinary. Lyra finally sat on the couch, watching Ethan as he cleaned up. "You have risked much for me," she said quietly. "I do not know if humans are always so courageous." Ethan shrugged. "We're not. But some of us try. Some of us act when it matters. She studied him for a long moment. Then I am fortunate. Not only for freedom, but for your presence. You are remarkable. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, not from the stabilizer or her glow, but from her words. Thanks, he said softly. Outside, the city continued its quiet hum. But inside the apartment, something extraordinary had happened. A human and an alien had fought against the odds, protecting each other, building trust, and forging a bond that transcended dimensions. Lyra looked at him with curiosity and something deeper, respect, admiration, perhaps even a hint of affection. This world is strange, she said. Yet I feel at home, Ethan smiled. Then stay, as long as you want. We'll figure it out together. Lyra nodded, her glow softening. Together, she agreed. But even in their moment of peace, Ethan knew the universe was not done testing them. Others from Lyra's world might try again, and the stabilizer, while successful, could only do so much. Still, for the first time, Ethan felt something he hadn't in a long time. Hope. Not just for himself, but for Lyra, and for whatever future awaited them in this world of humans, lights, and possibilities. They had survived the first wave, but the real challenge, understanding each other, facing the unknown, and building a life together, was only just beginning. And for Ethan, that was more thrilling than any invention he had ever built. The days after the encounter with the metallic enforcer passed quietly at first. Ethan continued refining the stabilizer, making adjustments to ensure Lyra's energy remained anchored to his world. But there was an unspoken tension lingering in the apartment, a feeling that something bigger was about to happen. Lyra spent her time observing Ethan's routines, learning about his world, and quietly reflecting on her own choices. She studied sunlight patterns, the hum of electricity and the city's rhythm outside the window. It fascinated her how simple, ordinary life could carry such variety and unpredictability. Ethan noticed a subtle change in her glow. It flickered occasionally, not from weakness, but as if she were considering something difficult. One evening he asked gently, "Lyra, are you happy here?" She looked at him, her violet eyes steady yet thoughtful. "I am safe. I am free, but there is still a pull to return. My world is not gone. My people will call for me. I feel it in the energy around me." Ethan's heart sank slightly. He had known this moment might come. "And if you go back?" "I may survive," she said quietly. "But I would lose this freedom. I would lose choice. I would leave you behind." Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't want you to feel trapped." "This world is your choice and not mine," Lyra nodded. "Yes, choice is what matters, and I have chosen to remain. But the choice must be reaffirmed. The portal may open once more, giving me the opportunity to return." Ethan felt a surge of determination. He had already risked so much to protect her. If a final decision would seal her future here, he would help her make it safely. That night, a faint hum echoed through the apartment. The air shimmered once again, like waves of heat over pavement on a hot day. A doorway formed, not unlike the one that had first brought Lyra to his shower. Its edges glowed with soft silver light, and within it he glimpsed a world of brilliance. Virelia, her home dimension. Towers of translucent crystal reflected endless light, skies streaked with purple clouds, and figures moved with fluid grace. Lyra's violet glow pulsed rapidly. She stepped toward the portal instinctively, then paused. "This is my world," she whispered, almost to herself. "The council will not ignore me this time. I can return, and everything will be as it should." Ethan stepped beside her, placing a hand gently on her arm. "Lyra, I know it's tempting. I can't stop you. But this world, our world, needs you too. You belong here if you choose it." She looked at him, her expression conflicted. "And if I stay, I may never see my home again." Ethan smiled softly. "Then it's your choice. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it. But know this. If you stay, you are safe. You are free. And you are welcome." Lyra's eyes lingered on his face. In the warmth and quiet of his small apartment, she felt something unfamiliar. Connection, trust, and understanding. No one in Virelia had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever considered her feelings over orders or rules. She stepped closer to Ethan. "You risked much for me," she said softly. I do not understand why humans act with such courage and loyalty. Ethan shrugged lightly. We're not perfect. But sometimes we act because it's right. Because we care. You didn't ask to be here. Yet I couldn't let anyone take you away. Lyra's glow softened, and for a moment she seemed almost human. Then I will choose to stay. I will embrace this world, this freedom. With you. The portal flickered and pulsed as if sensing her decision. Then slowly it began to fade. Lyra reached out, letting her fingers brush the shimmering light one last time. A small sigh escaped her lips, a mix of relief and nostalgia. Ethan held her hand gently. It's okay, he said. You don't have to go back. You're safe here. Her violet eyes met his. I feel anchored. Your world. It allows me to exist fully. I will not return, not because I cannot, but because I choose to remain. As the portal disappeared completely, a calm settled over the apartment. The energy around Lyra stabilized, and her glow softened into a gentle, steady light. She was anchored to this world, not by force, but by choice. Ethan exhaled, a smile spreading across his face. Welcome home, he said quietly. Lyra smiled back. Thank you. For giving me this chance. For allowing me to choose. In the following days, life slowly returned to a rhythm. Ethan continued his work, though now it often included Lyra, who observed and assisted where she could. She learned human habits, laughed at small jokes, and even attempted to mimic cooking, though her methods were unconventional. Their bond grew stronger each day, built on shared experiences, trust, and quiet moments of observation. Lyra discovered simple joys. The warmth of sunlight on her skin, the taste of fresh fruit, the sound of city streets at night. And Ethan, in turn, marveled at her perspective, her ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. One evening, as they sat together on the balcony, watching the stars flicker in the sky, Ethan spoke. I never thought life could change like this. One moment, it's normal, and the next someone teleports into your shower and turns everything upside down. Lyra laughed softly, a sound like chimes in the wind. And yet, I have never felt more alive. I am grateful for this accident, this chance to remain here, with you. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Me too, he admitted. They sat in silence, letting the city hum around them. Outside, the universe continued its endless motion, stars forming, galaxies spinning, and dimensions folding in ways humans could barely imagine. Yet inside the small apartment, two beings from different worlds shared a quiet peace. Lyra turned to him, her violet eyes shining softly. I am curious, Ethan. Your world is small compared to mine, yet it feels vast in its simplicity. I want to explore it, all of it, with you, Ethan smiled. Then we'll explore together, slowly. There's a lot to see, and I'll show you everything I can. She nodded, her glow pulsing gently in agreement. I look forward to it. I am learning that choice, freedom, and connection are more important than power or rules. You have taught me this. Ethan felt humbled. I didn't teach you anything. You chose to see it yourself. Lyra leaned back, gazing at the night sky. Perhaps. Yet it would not have been possible without you. You gave me the chance to choose. The apartment remained quiet, warm, and safe. For the first time since her arrival, Lyra felt completely at home. Ethan, too, felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known, not because of inventions or work, but because he had protected someone extraordinary and earned her trust. And as the stars glittered above, both of them knew their lives had changed forever. They were no longer just a human and an alien from another dimension. They were companions, friends, and explorers of a universe filled with endless possibility. Ethan glanced at her and smiled. So, what's next? Lyra's smile returned, brighter now than ever. Next, we discover this world together. Every corner, every street, every star we can reach. I have stayed here by choice, and now it is time to live fully. Ethan nodded. Then let's begin. The apartment, once ordinary and small, had become a bridge between worlds. And in that bridge, they found something rare and precious, understanding, trust, and the freedom to exist exactly as they chose. The universe might test them again, but now they were ready. Together. And in the quiet moments that followed, they simply watched the city lights, feeling a sense of wonder and hope. For Ethan and Lyra, life had begun again, in a world where choice mattered and where friendship, Courage and curiosity could overcome even the impossible.